Each week, American History TV's American Artifacts visits museums and historic places. 200 years ago, on September 11, 1814, British and American naval forces clashed for 2.5 hours in Cumberland Bay, near Plattsburgh, New York. The battle was the culmination of 6 days of Army and Navy conflict. Up next, we travel to Plattsburgh, where retired Army Colonel David Fitz-Enns, author of The Final Invasion, Plattsburgh, the War of 1812's most decisive battle, takes us on a tour of key locations to tell the story.
We're at the Clinton County Museum in Plattsburgh, northern New York, on Lake Champlain. And today I've got something to show you that's very rare. The militia deployed from the state of New York, and there were 2,500 that were asked to come to fight the British as they crossed the border. But only 700 showed up. And Captain Martin Aitkin, who was the son of a lieutenant colonel in the militia, he decided that he had all these weapons and no one to use them. And since the arsenal for the militia was in the basement of St. John's Academy, he went upstairs to see the Reverend, and he asked to address the class. And the class consisted of boys and girls, of course, the teenagers. And he said to the boys, "Your fathers are all gone forward to fight the British, and you're here. You could really help out. I've got plenty of weapons downstairs. And if you come with me, if you volunteer to come with me and come downstairs and get these weapons, I'll show you how to shoot them. And I'll show you how to do the military drill. And this afternoon we'll go out and we'll join the militia. And we'll defend these girls and other members of the city right here in Plattsburgh." Well, of course, with that, the boys looked around at all the girls, and every one of them volunteered. 18 teenagers went downstairs with Martin Aitkin, and they learned how to use the rifles. And as the regular army passed by, they joined at the end of the column. This little platoon of teenagers led by a 20-year-old captain. They fought for 5 days. They stayed when the militia ran. And at the end of the battle, when Macomb was successful, he was so impressed with Aitkin and his boys that he gave them their rifles. He granted them their rifles. But of course, the Army being the Army, nothing ever changes, you know. The quartermaster officer said to the general, "You don't have the authority to give away these rifles. These are government properties." So they had to recover all the rifles from the boys, and they left. But in 1825, Congress granted decorative rifles to the boys. And this is the only one that we know of existence. This is Martin Aitkin's decorative rifle. It looks a little unusual because it's a Hall. And the Hall rifle was the very first of the rifles to have been assembled on line. Therefore, the lock, the stock, and the barrel are all separate and interchangeable. And this lock, rather than being fed from the side, is fed from the top. And with a release mechanism here, the entire lock comes out, can be replaced with a good one, snap back in place, and the rifle is functional once again. No longer will the rifles be made individually. Congress wanted people to know exactly what this rifle was. And so when they granted them the rifles, they put this decorative plate on the butt of every rifle. Now, one of these showed up on the Antique Roadshow a couple of years ago. The second one, the only other one that we know that exists. I'll bet you there's more out there. Take a look around. Have you ever seen a rifle with a plate on it like this?